Welcome to my podcast series, Independence for Life, diving into management, instruction, and guidance of your lifestyle as you continue your journey through life and into retirement and older age. Hi, my name is Nancy Brunicardi. I am an integrative nutrition health coach, nutritionist, certified caregiver, and fitness professional and instructor. I work independently in every capacity as described. I am the creator of Independence for Life. I am continuing my preparation of upcoming podcasts to help guide you on your journey of independence for life. So let's begin. And keep in mind your why for being here today. And being healthy is not about weight loss you may experience, but about the life you gain by being a healthy weight, which is different for everyone. In my podcast number 1 and 2, I provided the basis for why I started Independence for Life and what it is. But basically, I'm here to spread the word about the importance of movement, proper nutrition, and preparation for older age, and to educate people about movement and continued mobility with exercise and proper nutrition. Today is podcast number 12, and I'm going to talk about summer foods, especially salad dressing. So I'm going to get into all of them, well, the main ones that come to my mind when I think about summer foods. But I wanted to start this podcast primarily because of salad dressing. So I would like you to picture this and take a walk with me. So you take the time to go to the grocery store. You stroll through the produce department, or maybe even a farmer's market. And you're looking at everything, you're touching things, you're smelling all of the beautiful fruits and vegetables that are available to you. And you're trying to make a plan for a beautiful, refreshing, healthy, probably primarily green salad. So you're taking out this time, you're picking everything out, you're seeing what's available to you, making these wonderful choices for yourself. Giving yourself some self-care with that beautiful salad. And then you head down the condiments aisle to choose a dressing to pair with it. So this is where the problem begins. There are so many choices, and looking at everything, you find something that you think would suit you. And you take it home, you take everything home, you prepare everything, you chop up all the vegetables, you wash them, chop and wash and back and forth, and then you cover it with salad dressing. So what we don't, well, I can't say what we all don't do, because I was guilty of it too, not reading the salad dressing label, like what it really is. And what I find frustrating, and I'm talking about the ones that are on the grocery store shelves in those plastic or glass bottles, pre-made dressing, ready to go. If you turn the bottle over and look at the ingredients, usually the first ingredient is soybean oil or canola oil. Well, now you've ruined that beautiful salad, that beautiful intention that you had. It's not your fault, and if you don't know, you don't know. So that's why we're here today talking about summer foods, because that's coming up. And about salad dressing, like what it really is and how unhealthy it really is. So you've taken the time and the energy and the money to get the components of the salad, and then you're going to dump the salad dressing that's bad for you on top of it. So it's really problematic if we're not aware of what's happening with our salad dressings. So when I go to the grocery store now, the ones that are better for you are either the ones you make yourself, which is what I do, or they're way up high on the shelf. I'm only 5'1", so I always have to climb, so they're way up high, way out of reach. The ones that are in your face, they're in your face for a reason, because they want to sell. And those bad ingredients are in there because they want to sell, line their pockets with money, and those are shelf stabilizers, okay? So it's not for your benefit at all. Salad dressings. So the ones I'm speaking of, they're high in calories. Is that helping you with your beautiful salad? No. It has the reverse effect. High in sodium, again, bad. High fat, poor quality oils, added sugars, artificial preservatives, hidden ingredients. So does that sound like you want to put all of that on your beautiful salad? I'm going to go with a big fat no. I know I don't. Your worst options, because it even gets worse from there, anything that's creamy or anything that's low fat, right? So people, oh, low fat, no fat. That's not a guarantee that it's better. Sometimes it's the reverse because they've added sugar for the loss of flavor of taking the fat out. So we need to be aware of the source. They're high in calories. So here you have all this produce, which is so good for you, low calorie, nutrient dense salad. And then, like I said before, you're just dumping high calories, sodium, sugar all over it. Bad oils, refined oils, soybean, canola, they cause inflammation. So if we're looking for oils for a salad, because you're not cooking it, olive or avocado, good choices there. These salad dressings, a high sodium, high sugar, sodium is a preservative and it contributes to high blood pressure. Sugar is a flavor enhancer, for the low fat dressing options. So I haven't said anything good here about any of the salad dressing. That's the ones that are in your face, that are your everyday brands, okay? They loaded up with the unhealthy additives, low fat, fat-free options, have thickeners. They have artificial ingredients. It's all garbage. It's not real food. It's a food-like product. So what can you do? Well, you can hunt and search and look at every single shelf. Start at the top and see what those ingredients are, or do what I do. You can make your own with oil and vinegar and seasonings. Okay, there are seasoning packs that come that way, but look at the ingredients also, because now they're adding wheat to it, which I can't have. I have to find different alternatives, or just use my own spices at home. But read your spice labels as well, because you'd be surprised of what they're putting in there. So point being is, if we're going to take the time to make this beautiful salad for our self-care, giving ourselves nutrient-dense meal, let's be aware of what we're putting all over the top of it. Another good choice would be having your salad dressing on the side. Okay, and I'm not saying don't have these bad dressings. I don't believe in deprivation. I believe in moderation. Just being aware of the source of these things that we're putting in our mouths. Even when the healthy choices, right? So making your own, using simple or natural ingredients, making them yourselves. Like a vinaigrette is great. That's usually an olive oil with lemon juice or vinegar, something simple, easy. And if you want to have something that's creamy, you can add to it some Greek yogurt. You can add some herbs to it. You want to add some healthy fats to your salad. Avocado is great. Nuts and seeds. Those healthy fats can replace a creamy sauce, Let's jump to coleslaw. So what is coleslaw? Well, it's a salad of shredded raw cabbage and carrots. And then that's usually dressed either with a vinaigrette or a mayo-based dressing. So here we go again, same thing. So you have cabbage and carrots, which are good intentions, and then we slather it up with some mayonnaise. So if we were going to want to have coleslaw more often than not, then I would choose vinaigrette versus mayonnaise. Same goes for potato salad, right? So let's look at that. You have boiled potatoes, which is a good way to have a potato, celery, onions, sometimes hard-boiled eggs, and then again, we're going to just throw mayonnaise all over it. So maybe a vinaigrette would be, on occasion, better than mayonnaise all the time. Same thing with macaroni salad. So this one I have a problem with because, I am gluten-free and I will forever talk about gluten-free. So maybe you can use gluten-free pasta, but even with the gluten-free pasta, I barely ever have pasta at all because it's really just sugar. So anyway, it's cooked pasta, celery, onions, sometimes hard-boiled eggs, pickles, and then again, we just slather it up with all that mayonnaise, So let's just, again, be aware of what we're eating So when you're at a picnic, if that's what's happening over the summer, and you have some of these choices, do we have to have all of them, or maybe just a taste of this and a taste of that? We don't have to have a plate full of every single thing. It's moderation. Just be aware of what we're doing. Next, let's look at sausage. It's ground meat with usually a mix of fat, salt, and seasonings, and stuffed into a casing. And sometimes that casing is natural and sometimes it's artificial. You have to read your ingredients. So sausage is generally considered unhealthy due to the high levels of saturated fats, sodium, and preservatives, and they're all linked to heart disease, cancer, and diabetes if you're eating that frequently. So this is another product, moderation. Chemical preservatives like nitrites and smoking process, they're linked to cancer, how it's prepared. It's high in saturated fats and sodium, and they can contribute to high blood pressure and heart issues. Regular consumption is associated with the risk of type 2 diabetes and chronic diseases. It is high in salt and it is high in fat. So let's look at healthier options. So when I'm talking to you today about these things, I'm trying to tell you the goods and the bads, okay, just to simplify that. So for your sausage, your healthier options, so look, maybe if they have it, the package will say lower sodium and lower fat content. Look for fewer additives, fewer fillers, fewer preservatives. Consider the source. Look for a higher quality, okay, high meat content and less fillers. And then we also need to look at the preparation of it, okay? Grilling it or baking it is way better than frying it. And your alternatives for sausage, there's chicken and there's turkey, okay? But that doesn't mean eat that all the time, okay? Sausage in general should be in moderation. Let's go to our friend the hot dog, which I absolutely love, but I have them very seldom. They are finely emulsified meat trimmings, fat, water, and seasonings, including salt, and stuffed into a casing. So these meat trimmings could be beef, pork, chicken, or turkey. The higher quality hot dogs often use all beef, while others, the cheaper ones, use mechanically separated poultry. They contain preservatives and cures. So the sodium nitrate that they put in there prevents bacteria and allows for the pink color to be present. But that's a carcinogen, okay? It's not good for us. The binders and fillers that I spoke of in the hot dog, it's typically dry milk powder, cornstarch, maybe a soy protein added for texture. Other byproducts in the hot dog could contain heart, liver, and a variety of other meats. Just read the label and be aware of what you're eating. Everyone always, says, don't tell me what's in a hot dog, and I totally get it. But sometimes, if you're eating them more than you should, you may want to see what you're actually eating, okay, and make better choices on that. So they're generally considered unhealthy due to the high levels of saturated fat, sodium, and preservatives, because it's all linked to heart disease, cancer, and diabetes if eaten frequently. Again, moderation. The cancer risk. Processed meats are carcinogenic. They contain sodium nitrates and nitrites. These preservatives that can turn into cancer-causing compounds in the body. And most of them, you'll see on the back of the label, will have both of these, unless the package on the front says uncured, and that's what I buy. They also have high levels of saturated fat and sodium, which can lead to high blood pressure and cardiovascular issues. They can be made from leftover meat trimmings and industrial processing, which allows for high amounts of additives. Regular consumption could lead to obesity and type 2 diabetes. Let's look at healthier options. Well, I've already said it 10 times in my podcast today. Moderation. How about let's look for better options? Read the label. Lower sodium, nitrate free. Maybe you could use chicken or turkey. What I like to buy is bison or if I'm looking for just regular beef, uncured. That's a big deal. So they're not going to last that long in your refrigerator. So I am one person, so I will buy the package of whatever it is, 6 or 10. I'll put the whole thing in the freezer and I'll eat one at a time, and the package could last me like a year. I very seldom eat them. And maybe if you do want to have this hot dogs, balance that with the healthier side instead of going for French fries. I'm saying if you're eating hot dogs more than you really should, let's try to counteract that maybe with a fruit salad on the side, or maybe some grilled vegetables, just something, other than, French fries, potato chips, anything like that. Let's try to be mindful of what's happening. So the hot dog typically goes in a bun. The hamburger typically goes in a bun. Not for me because I'm gluten-free and I try not to eat bread at all. So I'm going to talk about buns, and I'm going to talk about your standard white buns. So they are generally considered unhealthy because they are refined, they're high carb, low fiber, contain high fructose corn syrup, sodium, and preservatives. And that white bread will probably stay on the shelf for way too long. Way too long. They lack significant nutrients and contribute to high calorie count. So you already have the hot dog, you're already putting ketchup, mayonnaise, and whatever else on there, and then they add the bun in there. Let's try to battle this, here, so you can feel better about it, okay? These buns, because it's all sugar, spike your blood sugar. How about, let's look at the additives in there. They are carcinogens. There are a bunch of them. There's calcium propionate, and they are generally recognized as safe by our government. And there's also, which I don't believe in that, and I've talked about that in my other podcasts, where it's GRAS, generally recognized as safe. I don't believe in that. So to me, calcium propionate, I don't believe it's safe. There's also this is a big word, so hang with me, azadirachtin, which is approved for food in the U.S., but is banned in, let's say, Europe and Australia because it poses risks. So when the government here in the United States says it's generally recognized as safe, I don't believe them. I don't trust them, because if you read about it, you'll know. And if other countries are banning them, why wouldn't we? How come it's okay for us? And I've talked about that in other podcasts. So what that particular chemical additive does, it's used in bread for volume and texture, but it's also used in yoga mats and the soles of shoes to create spongy. So why would you want something that's used to create bread? It's also used to create rubber, right? So to me, logically, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to spell it. It's AZODICARBONAMIDE, azoticarbamide. So just even trying to say it, we shouldn't even try to say these words. These words shouldn't even be in our food dictionary. All right, so now I've told you all kinds of bad stuff about these standard white buns. Let's look at healthier options. And of course, number one for me would be gluten-free. Actually, number one for me would be no bun, but I get it. It's nice to have the bun. So gluten-free, or maybe something that's a whole grain. In this situation, if you're going to have something like this, let's have the best version of it possible. So we're not just eating a hot dog on sugar, right? Especially when you add in the ketchup, things like that. So there's more sugar on top of more sugar on top of more sugar. So like I said earlier, with pairing the hot dogs with maybe the fruit salad or grilled vegetables, if we're going to have the bun, even with the burger, let's have it be the best version of it possible. Speaking of burgers, Let's talk about that. So they're not inherently bad. It just depends on the meat quality, the cooking methods, and the toppings. So let's look at fast food burgers. Well, that's your worst option. They are high in calories and it could exceed 1,000 calories for one burger. So if you look at how many calories you want to have per day, that's pretty high. They're also loaded with saturated fats, hidden ingredients, and loaded with sodium. So what about your homemade burgers, right? You have control over that because I don't know who's making sausage and hot dogs at home. Some people do, right? But burgers are definitely easy to do at home. So if you're going to do that, maybe we reach for that lean meat for a nutritious source of protein, iron, and vitamin, and the B vitamins, as opposed to just grabbing any meat. And I'm not talking about every single time, as things are expensive. I get it, but if we can, try to be a little more proactive in our care, investing in ourselves, grabbing that better meat, or combining, the better meat with the not so better meat, just to extend it, especially if you have a family that you have to feed. So when we're talking about the burger itself, like the quality of meat is good. It's, like I said, it's a good source of protein, iron, and the B vitamins. And then we get involved with the empty calories, which would be your white breads, the bun, and all of those sugary sauces, So if we got the lettuce, tomato, onion, we got the fresh veggies on there, slice of cheese is good. But then we get the bun and the ketchup involved, and so again, just being aware of how much you're using and how much bread you're having. If you're going to that picnic, you're having a bun every single time, with every single thing. Is that really necessary? So just weigh your options. So burgers, your healthier options obviously would be your lean meat, 90 to 95% on the beef. Turkey and chicken, they're already fat-free. And it's a great alternative. So what I do for some people that I cook for, I'll buy the beef and the turkey and I'll combine them. But I won't tell my client, it's that they don't have an allergy to it. I'm just trying to give them less fat in their diet, less saturated fat. So compromise. I already told you a healthier option for burgers would be your bun, right? Your bun choices, or no bun at all. Give it a whirl. Maybe half a bun, one side, top or bottom. Do you have to have the whole bun? Is that really necessary? Maybe we can add some fresh vegetables on the burger, on the side, something, instead of all that bacon or all that extra cheese every single time. Compromise. Cooking your burger, grill it at home, as opposed to frying in the pan, because then it's sitting in all that fat, yeah? Let's go look at chicken. Okay, so chicken is usually at a barbecue too, and that should be the star of the show. That should be the go-to. It's a lean protein. It's loaded with essential vitamins and minerals. It's a complete protein and crucial for building and repairing muscle tissue, especially after you exercise or just as we age. It contributes to bone health. It contains phosphorus, calcium, and vitamin D, which helps maintain bone density. So chicken is our friend. I'm not talking about fried chicken though, but I do get that. Choosing chicken over red meat can help reduce your saturated fat consumption, and it is a staple in any heart-healthy diet. So again, compromise with yourself. It also offers you the feel-good hormone, which is serotonin, because chicken has tryptophan, which helps the brain produce serotonin and provides choline and vitamin B12, which are vital for brain development and cognitive performance. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Don't you want to eat that? It also offers zinc and selenium, and which act as antioxidants for immune response. So maybe that's why it's in chicken noodle soup when we don't feel good, right? We're going to go to pickles, and then I will briefly go over some condiments. So I have a major problem with pickles that are at the store. I love pickles. I would love to eat them every day. So the pickling process, I believe, is very involved. I don't, at this point in my life, have time to make my own pickles. Otherwise I would, because I would love to have a pickle every day. The problem with pickles are the store-bought ones. So I'm going to tell you what the normal ingredients are for pickles, how it used to be. You have your cucumbers, your vinegar, water, salt, and your spices, whatever you like. Some people like garlic in there. I love garlic in there. So now what's happening, this has been happening for a while, just like with all the other foods, store-bought preservatives. So that's what you're really getting besides the cucumber, your store-bought preservatives. You're paying for all those lovely things. So when you pick up that jar of pickles, I have not found, maybe because I shop at the regular grocery stores because that's all that's available to me, I have not found one jar that does not have a carcinogenic ingredient in it. So I don't buy them. And I'm very sad because I love pickles. Some of the ingredients, these preservatives, sodium benzoate, that's a carcinogenic ingredient. I've talked about that one specifically in one of my past podcasts. There's also polysorbate 80. That one is an inflammatory. There's also yellow dye number 5, which is linked to asthma and hyperactivity. And my favorite, high fructose corn syrup, which is linked to weight gain, heart disease, type 2 diabetes. So you go, just like the salad, you go from cucumbers, vinegar, water, salt. Salt is a necessary nutrient. I had a podcast about that. And your spices, you go from those beautiful ingredients to have a wonderful pickle to they load it up with all this garbage, and it's not worth eating. To me, it's not worth eating, and it's very upsetting. So when we look at the pickle, and you say, well, what's the big deal about it? Well, it does have health benefits, okay? It supports your gut health by way of probiotics, especially if it's fermented. But normally the ones in the store on the shelves, they use vinegar, and vinegar is great for us too, but it hasn't been fermented, so it doesn't have the probiotics. But anyway, it's good for our gut. It makes us happy. It's low calorie. Has essential vitamins like A, K, and C. It's an antioxidant. It helps if you drink the pickle juice that doesn't have all the carcinogenic ingredients. It helps with muscle cramp relief because of the high salt and vinegar content. So it has great things, and we love to have it on sandwiches. We love to have it as a side. It's really, really a great accompaniment to a lot of things, but now they are ruining it as far as I'm concerned. Let's look at your main condiments. Oh, I didn't do barbecue sauce, which is probably just loaded with everything else that ketchup has, sugar and preservatives. So mayonnaise is not inherently bad, but it is high in fat and calories, so I would use that in moderation. It does contain healthy unsaturated fats and low saturated fats. It is calorie dense, and it also may contain refined oils like soybean and canola. So your healthier options are mayonnaise made with avocado or olive oil. I have tried that. I think they're gross. I do love regular mayonnaise, and I stay away from it as much as I can because I like it way too much. So I already know that about myself, and I use it on occasion, and I'm okay with that. So try the alternatives: avocado oil, olive oil, mayonnaise. See if you like it. I know I do not. But again, moderation works here. How about ketchup? Well, that one also is not inherently bad, but it is high in sugar and sodium and probably has high fructose corn syrup. And it's not a nutrient-dense food, even though it's made from tomatoes. But what they've done to it with all the processing it and adding all the sugars and all the preservatives to it, it's not really doing anything for you except making that burger or the hot dog yummy. So let's try to look for brands that are without any added sugar and maybe some reduced sodium or no high fructose corn syrup. That's my go-to. So even when I'm at a restaurant, they got the ketchup on the table, 9 out of 10 times, high fructose corn syrup. And it's like, it's like, can I get a choice? Just like chicken was the star of the show, mustard is the star of this show also. It's a low-calorie choice. It is the superior choice compared to mayonnaise and ketchup. It doesn't have anything in it that's going to hurt you, and it's only good stuff in it. Last two we're going to talk about today: soda, fruit drinks, ice pops. Everybody already knows, how bad soda really is. and regular consumption is linked to obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and tooth decay, right? So why would we drink that regularly? It is a major source of added sugar. Even the ones marked diet. It's, to me, they're both bad, okay, if you're drinking them all the time. So the ones marked diet, they are linked to increased risk of stroke, dementia, and higher levels of the hunger hormone ghrelin, which stimulates appetite and tells the brain to keep eating. So you'll hear people talk about diet soda, how they say that leads to weight gain. Well, because of that hunger hormone ghrelin, it's not letting your brain say no more, no more. It's saying more, 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 just like high fructose corn syrup. Same properties where it's telling you, ooh, eat more. Oh, you're not hungry. I'm sorry. You're not full yet. Keep eating, keep eating. It stimulates when that's not how we should be functioning. And with the soda, whether it's regular or diet, a daily habit will present long-term health risks. Side note, how old was I? Man, I can't remember if it was my 20s or my 30s, but I was addicted to Diet Pepsi, addicted to it, and it was terrible. So I broke free of it, and yay for me. So there are possibilities. Even now, there are so many other choices, better choices that's available to you instead of just regular soda and regular diet soda. Look for the alternatives in everything. Google it if you're not sure. You can send me an email if you're not sure. I'd be happy to steer you toward that. You just have to look at and read everything you're purchasing. How about those fruit drinks? I'm not talking about fruit juice that you have in the morning with your breakfast. I'm talking about fruit drinks and your ice pops. When I go to the store, I was looking for an ice pop. I did not find one that didn't have garbage in it. I'm like, and it's supposed to be fruit ice pop. The summer's coming. I wanted that, after work. And they're all with garbage. So I made my own. Anyway, your fruit drinks and your ice pops, high in sugar, just like the soda. Same thing about the soda. These also lack fiber. I know it says fruit, but they lack fiber, and they may cause rapid blood sugar spikes. These things often contain very little real juice, and they add the high fructose corn syrup, and they are poor nutritional choices. So yes, it says fruit. But when they add the drink to it or the ice pops, these things, it's just garbage. So I'm not telling you not to have a good time at your barbecues, just trying to arm you with some ammo to make some good choices for yourself. Be aware, compromise with yourself, moderation. If you're going to have a soda, have one. You don't need to have 3 or 4, I'm sure. I would think logically not to have that. So have one, have a half a glass. Moderation, do you need to have a bun if you're going to have 3 things, do you need to have a bun every time? Just be aware of what's happening. Podcast number 13, I'm going to be working on that. The topic is going to be physical stability. My name is Nancy Brunicardi, Independence for Life. If you want to get a hold of me, my email address is IND, the number 4, LIFELLC@gmail.com. Thank you for being here today, and keep up the good fight.